In the sense in which it is treated in the philosophy of art, the Trauerspiel is an idea. Such a treatment differs most significantly from a literary historical treatment in its assumption of unity, whereas the latter is concerned to demonstrate variety. In literary historical analysis, differences and extremes are brought together in order that they might be relativized in evolutionary terms. In a conceptual treatment, they acquire the status of complementary forces, and history is seen as no more than the colored border to their crystalline simultaneity. From the point of view of the philosophy of art, the extremes are necessary. The historical process is merely virtual. Conversely, the idea is the extreme example of a form or genre, and as such does not enter into the history of literature. Trauerspiel, as a concept, could, without the slightest problem, be added to the list of aesthetic classifications, but not as an idea, for it defines no class and does not contain the generality on which the respective conceptual levels in the system of classification depend, the average. The consequent inadequacies of inductive reasoning in artistic theory could not long remain concealed, hence the critical bewilderment of modern scholars. With reference to a study, Zum Phänomen des Tragischen, Shaler asks, how are we to proceed? Are we to assemble all manner of examples of the tragic? That is to say, occurrences and events which are said to create the impression of the tragic, and then analyze inductively what it is that they all have in common. That would be a kind of inductive method which could be supported by experiment. This would not, however, lead us any further than self-observation at those moments when we are affected by the tragic. For how justified are we in accepting that what people describe as tragic is tragic? The attempt to define ideas inductively, according to their range, on the basis of popular linguistic usage, in order then to proceed to the investigation of the essence of what has been thus defined, can lead nowhere. Invaluable though common linguistic usage may be to the philosopher as a pointer to ideas, it is dangerous to be misled by loose speech or thinking into accepting it, in interpretation, as the formal basis of a concept. Indeed, this permits us to say that it is only with the greatest reservation that the philosopher may adopt the habitual tendency of ordinary thinking, which is to make words into concepts embracing whole species in order to be more sure of them. And the philosophy of art has not infrequently succumbed to this temptation. When Ästhetik des Tragischen, to take one striking example for many, includes in its analyses plays by Holz or Halbe alongside dramas by Aeschylus or Euripides, without so much asking whether the tragic is a form that can be realized at all at the present time, or whether it is not a historically limited form, then as far as the tragic is concerned, the effect of such widely divergent material is not one of tension, but of sheer incongruity. When facts are amassed in this way so that the less obvious original qualities are soon obscured by the chaos of more immediately appealing modern ones, the investigation in which this accumulation was undertaken, with a view to examining what these things have in common, is left with nothing but some psychological data, which, on the slender basis of an identity in the subjective reaction of the investigator, or at least the ordinary contemporary citizen, are helped to establish the similarity of things which are in fact quite different. In terms of the concepts of psychology, it is perhaps possible to reproduce a variety of impressions, regardless of whether these impressions have been evoked by works of art, but it is not possible to express the essence of a field of artistic endeavor. This can only be done in a comprehensive explanation of the underlying concept of its form, the metaphysical substance of which should not simply be found within, but should appear in action, like the blood coursing through the body.